thought today that I would share a little bit about my salvation experience. When I was 7 years old, I was saved. I made that decision to accept Him into my heart. I was young, and I truly believed that I was saved. I accepted Him, and I was baptized, 7 years old, and began that journey to know Him. Now, I have to admit, Sunday school class was a great way to learn. Mom, Dad, wonderful. And I began to learn all the different stories about Him. I began to learn creation, also Noah's Ark. Began to learn about Daniel and the lion's den, all those different stories and how God works in all these different lives. But I have to admit, it was hard for me to see Him at work in my life because I was 7, 8, 9 years old, and really not a whole lot going on in my life that made a big impact that I would go, oh yeah, that's it. That's where He's at. Now, I have to admit now that I can look back and go, oh, He was there. Oh, now I see Him at work. But at that young age, I have to admit, I didn't see that all the time. It was 1999, to be honest, and we were getting ready to hit 2000, and they were calling it Y2K. And we were going to kind of not sure about the computers. We weren't sure about the time change. We had adjusted into going from 1999 into 2000. What was going to happen when it switched over to 2000? You know, had we prepared for this big event in our life? And so we were all worried. Well, as me and so many others in our BYF, Baptist Youth Fellowship, we prepared an event called Y2Y. It's so funny because we even created a song, and I know a couple of you out there remember this, but we sang Y2Y, and we had all the motions, Y2Y, and this big event happened, and we talked about being prepared and ready for what was going to happen. And we said, no matter what, we were going to take this event head on. And I was only 19, but I have to admit, I was 19. So I was starting to learn that my relationship with Christ was more than just being 7 or 8 years old. And I remember that night, we performed a drama. And it's so interesting to me because it started out, we were all up on stage and we were singing worship. And it was me and our whole youth group, and we were singing. And then all of a sudden, the lights shut off. And we have shotguns, like shotgun noises. We didn't actually have guns, but we had the noises. And some of us dropped to the ground. And the rest of them run off stage and scream. And this is just a drama. This was to make people realize that life could change like that. But that was something that was put on our heart back then. And so the lights come up, and you see several of us on the ground. You see people screaming, and the audience is like, what is going on? What has just happened? And so we get up, and you hear this angelic noise, and then it shows us going before the throne of God. Some, it says, I'm sorry, but you are not one of mine. And then some of them went before God, and we began to see the things that we had the opportunity to do that we didn't do. And so it says that in heaven, He will wipe away our tears. And we stood there and we saw the things that we could have done that we did not do while here on earth. But there were still rewards that we received. And there were crowns and jewels, and it was the neatest drama that we did there in 1999. And I remember that after that drama, we did an altar call. And I can remember being down there, and we as youth were prepared to pray. I was one of the older ones, and so we were going to pray with those who had come up. And I remember there was just an urge, there was a calling that I felt I needed to be the one at the altar. I was the one where I felt like that was it. I could no longer depend upon the church. It was no longer about my mom and dad's, teachings of what the Bible said. It was now about me. As a 7-year-old, 8-year-old, I have to admit, my mom and dad made my decisions. They made me go to church. They made me do a devotion at night. They made me pray before I ate. But now that I was 19 years old, I was getting married in 2000 to the love of my life, and it was not going to be about someone else taking care of my relationship with Christ. It was now about me doing it on my own and making it personal. So this is when I got down and I was like, this is not going to happen anymore. I was going to take it upon myself. And I just wanted to share a scripture that goes right along with this. It says in Matthew 16, "Then Jesus said to his disciples, 'Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. For whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will find it.'" I hope that you find that point where it's real for you. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you soon. Bye.